Today's Black History moment is one that I hope to make your palate and your tummy take notice. The term soul food has become a buzzword in past years to the delight of many, and it is not just contained to the southeastern United States or the Deep South. It is popular across the nation and even has become popular to those with alternative diets, with vegan options now being offered. From restaurants in metropolitan, rural, and suburban areas to food trucks, soul food is big business that had very humble beginnings, as this video from CGTN News will show. Enjoy the video and then stay tuned for our worship service for Sunday, February 28th.
For over 17 years, Melba's in the heart of Harlem has been serving soul food. Named after its founder, the restaurant is about much more than just food. It's about the soul of a neighborhood.
114th Street and Frederick Douglass Boulevard was one of the most notorious drug blocks in my community. I didn't want my friends, family members going down the street and selling drugs. I wanted them to know that you can own your own business in this community, you can work in this community, and I wanted to give them a place to do that.
Wilson started Melba's with her own savings. She's employed many from the neighborhood who are helping to keep her grandmother's recipes alive. Classic dishes include fried chicken and okra, macaroni and cheese, and of course, collard greens. Dig in. The roots of soul food with its rice, okra, and greens are in Africa, but it is quintessential African American cuisine that was largely developed in the Deep South where many slaves lived on plantations. Adrian Miller, author of Soul Food, The Surprising Story of an American Cuisine One Plate at a Time, says enslaved people yearned for the food they knew in Africa, but they had to make do with what they got. Foraging was commonplace.
So once a week, they got rations. That would be 5 pounds of some starch, could be cornmeal, rice, or sweet potatoes, a couple of pounds of either smoked, dried, pickled, or salted meat, usually pork, and then a jug of molasses. So the enslaved had to figure out how to survive by gardening, foraging, hunting, fishing, and doing all these other things to supplement their diet.
Miller says what emerged was a type of Southern cuisine created by and first consumed by African Americans. But with time, others adopted the food as well. It was renamed soul food in the 1960s.
I went into this thinking that soul food was wholly created for African Americans, but then I realized it's more about class and place than race. For the most part, people of the same socioeconomic class, regardless of race, were eating the same foods.
Wilson learned all about soul food when visiting her grandmother in South Carolina every summer. She says it was classic farm to table.
My grandmother used to have me go out in that garden. Melba, pick some collard greens. Melba, pick some this, pick some that. That's what we did. You know, we would get nuts, we would get apples, we would get grapes from the vine. And now it's called farm to table. Back then it was called, Melba, girl, go out in that garden and get this and get that.
Soul food may have started in the South, but it quickly spread across the United States along with the so-called Great Migration, a period spanning the early 20th century to roughly 1970, when more than 6 million African Americans migrated from southern states to other parts of the country.
It has a powerful story because it speaks to the resiliency of enslaved Africans and later enslaved African Americans, their ingenuity of how they made this food delicious. And then it's a story of triumph because regardless of all that was thrown at African Americans, here we're still here and we're still thriving.
Still thriving, in part because of places like Melba's that are keeping the traditions alive.
Thanks to everyone that contributed to our virtual Black History celebration. We hope you learned something that you can share with your loved ones. Please like and follow our social media for ongoing Black History moments because Black history is American history and we're celebrating 24/7. We will now begin our worship service.